LuchaCentral.com presents Masks, Mats, and Mayhem.
Yo, what's up, Oso? Oh, do you listen to my podcast?
Yes.
All right.
Good show. Good show.
Changes are being made, and I think all those people leaving and me leaving, I think that was a huge wake-up call. Like, you don't know what you have until you lose it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And
well, the one thing I was going to say.
Go for it.
I was going to say, Phoenix, when he jumped from the crash on like the Sunday, he actually came to England. This is 2016 now. So it's like he came to England that next weekend.
Right.
And I went, that was like the first time I went to watch wrestling after so many years of being away from it. And like, I was the only guy who knew him really. On the first night, he did 5 shows over 3 days. And I went up to him and was like, I bought a wonderful mask from him. But like, no one was going up to him to buy merch. And then he wrestled, and the whole place gave him a standing ovation. And you could see him getting up, you know, the emotion, because it was a big risk, especially because he came to England and it was like, oh my God, have I made the right decision? And then the second day he fought 3 matches, and he had Callahan. And after that one, he literally broke down in the ring in tears when they got standing ovation, and literally he couldn't keep merch. And it was just like, me and him had a big sweaty hug, but like, it was a case of like, and he was crying, and it was just like, yeah, I realized I've made the right decision to leave and push, because
they weren't sure when you've had that security blanket for so long and you're not sure, you know, what it's going to be like when you get out there. But when you're great everywhere, because you know, I really didn't know how great Rey Mysterio or Eddie Guerrero or none of those guys were. I knew they were great, but I really found out when they came to the United States. You know, like, wow, these guys aren't just good or great, they're fucking incredible. You know, and Phoenix was the same way. I knew that anywhere he went, he was going to be great, you know, because he's a special athlete.
Yeah. Can AEW use him and Penta and Jack and Angelico? Can they use these guys right? What do you think?
What a shame, bro. What a shame. All that fucking talent, and, you know, they have them doing stupid shit. I think there's going to come a point where, because here's a problem. They have so many people on that show that aren't TV ready. They should be on dark, you know, and then once they, you know, and right now they have a lot of inexperienced guys that are like learning on the job. And that's cool if it's the minority of your roster, because you can hide it with all the other guys that you can, that can work. But you've got guys that are TV ready, because we all know Jack can cut a promo. Heli can cut a promo, and they can go, and Pentagon and Phoenix can go. You know, it's almost like Ricochet. If you were to turn on WWE right now and you hadn't seen wrestling in 5 years, and somebody were to tell you, hey, see that guy in the ring? He's the next greatest high flyer after Rey Mysterio. The way he's being booked, you'd have no idea. Correct. You know, if you told them this is one of the greatest tag teams in the world, Pentagon and Phoenix, from what they've done in AEW, you'd have no idea. Jack and Angelico, when was the last time they were even on Dynamite?
I don't know. Once in the past 3 months.
Right. And then my boys are
I have to watch Dark just to see those guys ever.
Yeah, and then my boys LAX, they had this incredible match. You know, first of all, the pretense is ridiculous. So they're fighting 2 guys who their mom brings to the show in a van, and they're 30 years old, and she's baking cookies for everybody. All right. So they, you know, it's just ridiculous premise. And anyway, so they go out and they have this incredible street fight. I don't know if you guys saw it. It was like it was fucking great. And then at the very end, they beat the fuck out of each other. Orange Cassidy comes out, and don't get me wrong, I understand that, you know, there's something there, but I don't think as much as they think. But anyways, he opens up the trunk. He's got a chain wrapped around his fist. He fucking punches Santana, knocks him the fuck out. The other guy gets beat, and the mother flips them off. So this motherfucker just took everybody's heat, and so did the mom.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But they're to me, they're doing gimmicks that will get people into an indie show. Right. You know, and they're not doing storylines that keep people invested in the characters and the TV show. Yeah. That's my problem. But that's just the mentality over there.
I really loved what you were doing with the old LAX and the new LAX angle,
right
before
the impact.
I thought that was great. And that the last match they had, the no mat in the ring match.
Yeah, that was good too. Yeah,
that was great.
And I'll say, look, Eddie Kingston, he entertains the shit out of me right now. And like, look, I don't even think he's necessarily doing anything special, but on that show, it looks special as hell.
Yeah, but the thing is, here's a problem I have with that whole thing. Look, and it's I'm not, bro. Believe me, I'm not hating. I'm stating. You know what I'm saying? I have a lot of friends in AEW, a lot. Okay, and so, but I get frustrated because I'm like, bro, there's people there that know how to do this. Why aren't you doing it right? So I'll give you an example: Butcher and Bunny and Blade or whatever, Butcher Blade, Pentagon Phoenix, and Eddie Kingston. You know what that feels like to me? It almost feels like, and I've seen it a million times because it's happened to me. All right. We don't really have anything to do with Pentagon and Phoenix. We don't really have anything to do. They're getting paid. A lot of fans are complaining that we don't do nothing with the Lucha Brothers. Eddie Kingston is hot. Let's just put them together. You know, like no rhyme, no reason, no nothing. You know, there's no fucking buildup. It's almost like, you know, what's this guy's name? Lance Archer came in, they beat him immediately. Brody Lee came in, they beat him immediately. Brian came in, they beat him immediately. In no world should, in any world that I'm in, should John Moxley be beating him with some armbar or whatever the fuck he beat him with. He should fucking pick him up with one arm and slam him. But anyways, so you beat all these guys, and now you've got to put the title on Brody Lee. Now you're having Lance. You're kind of like rehabilitating everybody because you didn't do it right the first time. You should have built these guys up, bro, and collide. But no, they chopped their knees right off. And so, you know, it's not easy, dude, because at the end of the day, you know, none of those guys, not Tony, not Cody, not Kenny, and not the Young Bucks, who would probably be the 5 guys that have something to do with writing, and Jericho. None of them have ever really booked that I know of. You know what I'm saying? So you've got, I don't know how many different opinions, because I can guarantee you they're not all agreeing on the same shit. And you can definitely see there's a little buddy system going in. These guys take care of these guys, and these guys take care of these guys. And so it's not easy, bro. You know what I'm saying? They're still kind of like in diapers when it comes to booking. So I kind of give them a pass on what I call sometimes bad booking.
Well, so what do they need? They need a you, or they need a Gerwitz, or they need that guy that can come in there and actually write the show, right?
Well, they have enough guys there, bro. Arn Anderson knows what the fuck's going on. Jericho knows what the fuck's going on. You know, get some of those guys in a room, and JR knows what the fuck's going on. I mean, yeah, you can say stuff like, okay, well, you know, what worked back then doesn't work now. Now is a different generation. That is true, but there's things that's going to work forever. So get those things that work from before and mix them in what you're doing now. And you got to they just have too many untrained people that aren't ready for TV, cutting promos and doing matches. And you can see the hole in their work, and the writing is not that tight. So, you know, it's just have logical, you know, it's almost like, bro, WWE does this a lot too. I'll give you an example. Andrade and Garza were fighting. They even had a fight in the backstage. Now all of a sudden they're tagging as if nothing ever happened. For some reason, they broke up the 2 Australian girls, who to me were money. And I was like, okay, why would you break them up if they're both green? Let them get better, and then you separate them like Sasha and Bailey. But you separate them, and then the blonde girl, I think is Peyton. She had a match the other day, and you can just tell she's really green. But she broke up with her friend, the black-haired girl, Billy, I think is her name. And then they went into Raw Underground, and she actually threw her to the wolves and threw her into the Raw Underground thing. But the next week, they're friends again. Right. It's like, do you not follow your own storylines? Do you have a special show like DVD that I should be watching some ancillary programming? Why don't you explain to me what the fuck is going on?
That show is so long, they don't know what the fuck they're doing with it anymore.
Yeah, but was this something I thought Disco brought up the other day about having someone like a continuity checker?
Right. Just have somebody check the whole
That's the writer's job. You shouldn't have somebody checking continuity. That's the writer's job. Like, I can guarantee you, when I'm writing something in AAA, this doesn't mean I'm the best, I'm the baddest, or I'm the greatest. Just, I always make sure that everything's making sense. Because if not, if you're watching a movie, you're like, okay, well, 1 minute he stabbed them, and now they're fucking having dinner. How did this happen? I mean, do you not you know, I mean, are we just to pretend it didn't happen? Is that the game now?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand. You know, I'll suspend disbelief for you, but Jesus Christ, you know, make shit make sense, you know, because to tell you the truth, if I wasn't in this business, there's nothing that is as bad as wrestling that I'd continue to watch.
Right.
Something bad, I stopped watching it. You know, I watch it because I make money off of it, and I'm always looking for talent. I'm just kind of seeing what might work somewhere that maybe I can use, you know, but other than that, you know, it's not that interesting. I will say this, I do like the Roman and Jey Uso angle.
Love it, man. Yeah. I like that whole pay-per-view, and WWE, they've got me right now. So just like you said, if it sucks, I'm not going to watch anymore. They got me for a minute. They better keep the ball rolling, because that was a good pay-per-view. That was hot. That ladder match was hot. The Roman thing, the way they played the end of that, and they let it play long too. I loved it. It was brutal.
Right.
You know,
Fiend with Alexa Bliss. I'm kind of digging that.
That's good too.
I'm kind of digging Sami Zayn. I'm kind of digging the Mysterio angle. You know, what is Aaliyah going to do? Is she going to go with Buddy Murphy? Is she going to tell fucking Ray to kick rocks? I mean, you know, so it's a little telenovela-ish.
Which I like. And I like what's going on there. Ray bringing in his kids. And, you know, Dominic, he showed up with Dominic a few times at Lucha Underground. Right. And I knew immediately myself, I was like, wow, I hope he doesn't try to bring Dominic up here. This is the wrong group of people. They're not going to protect him. He's not going to get the right training and love. There's not enough time. You know, these guys don't work in the ring enough because they're all out on the indies. And Dominic wasn't in a position where he could really be doing that. So I loved Ray taking him over to WWE and going back there and doing that thing with him. Like, if he wants to put the crown on his son for a while, that feels like the right way to do it to me. You know, there's been a lot of talk, and we talked about it a little bit on our show, even a lot of talk about if Dominic was getting, you know, the benefit of the nepotism. But my take on it right now is that who gives a fuck? It's working, and he's working with these great guys that are protecting him and know what to do, and they're still making him pay his dues. He's just getting to do it at the top of the mid card, which is fortunate for him. But at the same time, it really seems like it's working. Like, did you think that this was going to work?
Let me tell you something about nepotism. And I want you to be honest. I'm going to start first with me, and we'll work our way down. Do you think that Ray has enough power to tell Vince, hey, this is my son, put him in the main events?
No one can tell Vince anything.
How about you, Byron?
No, I don't think he could do that.
How about you, Jason?
I think that Ray is smart enough to ask the right questions, but not insist upon anything.
Yeah, bro, this was a total Vince call. He likes Dominic. He sees something in him, and he's made the call.
Mm-hmm. I mean, love it. Nepotism is all over the industry. I mean, you had Horace Boulder,
for sure.
ECW. Yeah. You know, he's cool in his own right, but he was there because he was someone's nephew or cousin or something. But I mean, above all else, I just love the fact that Ray gets to have the time with his son. You know, like, you know, there's a lot of missed time on the road. So I'm happy that they get to do this angle. They get to bring the whole family in. I mean, I think it's worth it just for that.
Well, and not only that, bro, you always want to see good things happening to good people. And Ray's this beautiful human being that as there is on this earth, and his son is cut from the same cloth. You know, they're humble, beautiful, you know, people, you know what I'm saying? And so I always want good things to happen to them.
And his daughter can act. Who knew? She was so that great.
Acting lessons, that's why.
She can, you can tell she can actually act, which is rare on certain WWE programming these days.
Acts better than anybody on that roster, you know, but she took acting lessons.
All right, Konnan, I got to tell you who I got heat with. I got heat with Hoovy.
Right.
This motherfucker. So, you know, when Mad was a hot gimmick for a minute, you know, and like we said, we supported Kevin Cross and we were loving that gimmick. And then Teddy came in, this, that, and the other thing. So I hit Hoovy up and I'm like, Hoovy, I need these Mad shirts. Cross says I got to get the Mad shirts from you. What's the fucking deal?
Right.
He jerked me around for this money on these Mad shirts forever. Never fucking got them. I ended up getting them from Jarrett or fucking Pro Wrestling Tees way after the fact. Right. So I've had heat with Hoovy for fucking ever. What the hell is going on? When did he get to be so goddamn flaky? Deep sigh.
I think when he went to WCW, and there's always, for some reason, I don't know why, because like I said, Ray's such a cool dude. There's always like a little bit of jealousy between Ray and Hoovy, but not from Ray to Hoovy, but from Hoovy to Ray. You know, like he told this story the other day, which I was like, yeah, there's no fucking way that happened. He said that Ray got mad because one day they both got off the bus and everybody recognized Hoovy, but not Ray. And Ray felt slighted. And I'm thinking to myself, bro, there's no place on earth where you and Ray together and they're going to notice you and not Ray, and vice versa. There's no place where they're going to notice Ray and not you. So why would you bury Ray like that? You know? And he was always really mad because when there was one time when Ray got hurt, I think he went to get surgery and he wanted the belt. And they didn't want to give him the belt. They were like, no, we're going to wait till Ray comes back. And he was complaining, well, you know, he's hurt. Just give it to me. And I was like, Hoovy, don't do that shit, bro. Don't fucking fuck. We're supposed to be a family and be united. Don't bury fucking Ray, you jackass. And I think like bro, I've never, ever, ever, ever seen Ray get mad at anybody. The only time I ever saw him get mad at anybody was Juventud, and it was epic. We were in Philadelphia. We were in Philadelphia in WCW, and we were in catering. And Ray actually told him this. He goes, after the match, come to my room. And if you come to my room and you knock on the door, I'm going to beat your fucking ass. And I was like, yes. And he didn't go to the room. Yeah. So, you know, he's just a guy that he's oblivious to his heat. When I would tell him stuff, I go, bro, the guys don't want to work with you. They're complaining that you're eating their lunch, that you're not selling. And he would go, oh, they're just jealous. And I go, no, they're not jealous. They're fucking, you know what I'm saying? He won't ever accept any responsibility, any accountability. When I first came back, I was so happy because I was finally going to be able to do like my first Triple Mania with nobody putting their hands in, right? And there was a match. It was Juventud and Teddy, and maybe the other guy was Jack. I think it was Juventud, Teddy, and Jack, and it was against Averno, Chessman, and Superfly. Okay,
yeah.
And the match was so bad that the people were booing. Okay, so Hoovy didn't want. There was already heat coming into the match, which I didn't know till after, because when I talked to Verno, he was the only guy that told me the truth. He goes, well, you know, we went to work out the match like you asked us to, and Juventud kept saying, is that Konnan said you have to do this, and Konnan said you have to do this, and I was like, I never said that. He goes, well, we thought you didn't, and he kept telling us that we had to do it, and he was very condescending. And I was like, fuck. So this guy came into the match and he wasn't selling nothing, and they weren't selling anything, and they were potatoing each other, and they were struggling, and I remember that we sat down a couple of days later, and we had this big meeting, and Dorian goes, you know, this show would have been a 10 if it wasn't for two things. He goes, the Juventud match and Phoenix flying into my mom. And I was like,
yeah. I forgot about that.
I remember in that match, someone tried to shoot on Jack too a little bit, and Jack took him down. I forgot which one.
Chessman.
Yeah. And Jack really had he didn't even know what was going on. Everybody was fighting because of fucking. And then here's the other thing. So then I talked to Dorian, and Dorian goes, well, I'm gonna bring them both into my office, and I'm gonna talk to both of them, and depending on their attitude, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. So I call Juventud and I go, bro, there's gonna be a meeting. You know, go in there, be respectful. Own up to anything that you did. You know, so fucking Dorian called me back and he goes, Averno stays, Juventud's out of the promotion. And I was like, this guy must have fucked it up somehow as usual, you know? And I was like, well, what happened, Dorian? He goes, well, he came in here. He didn't want to accept any of the blame. He kept putting the blame on Averno. At least Averno said, yeah, you know, I was wrong for doing this, and this. Juventud would take no blame. He was actually offended. And I go, fuck that guy. And so then, you know, he went around telling everybody, yeah, Konnan set me up so they would beat me up. I'm like, what? You know, and like, you know, you wanted me to look bad in the match. I go, think of what you're saying, jackass. I'm going to look bad because that match came out bad. You know what I'm saying? Why would I want to sabotage my own match?
And that was your first big Triple Mania too, right?
You're a fucking idiot. Yeah.
Well, the rest of that card was very good. I appreciated it. And honestly, even watching that match be a clusterfuck was kind of entertaining for me. But that was just because we could tell, like, oh shit, this ain't right at all.
Right.
Something's going down.
Yeah. It was a very interesting match.
I wanted to
and it was and let me tell you what's a funny thing, just so talking about Hoovy. So today on AAA, they're showing like they've been putting flashbacks of matches. And there was a match from 2012. They showed it today. They just showed like a little trailer of it. And it's like Jack, Phoenix, Daga, Leader, and Juventud. Okay. And I'm looking at the match and immediately I remember what happened. Bro, he had so much heat with Leader because he refused to take any bumps from Leader. Okay. But he wanted Leader to take all these crazy fucking bumps, you know? So we did something where we got him out of the match really quick so he wouldn't be a pain in the ass. And then we took the belt off of him. So he's always been a pain in the ass, bro.
Yeah. Well, speaking of belts, I wanted to ask you, as a booker, how are you handling your top belt being stuck in another promotion right now?
Yeah, there's nothing you can do right now because we're not even running shows. But it's funny because they like Omega so much in Mexico that, you know how it's called the Mega Championship? They call it the Omega Championship. And bro, they treat him like I'm not kidding, like a rock star. When he wrestled Dragon Lee in Monterrey, listen to the crowd noise. They were chanting his name, and he was like, you know, he's like in. And then he had a great match with fucking Phoenix. I think his next match is gonna be with Laredo, but he's very easy to work with. Really cool guy, very special, and they absolutely love him in Mexico. Like they get him, but you know, like what we do over there, we just put him in long, like Japanese type match where he can tell a story and really show his athletic ability and his charisma and all that. You know.
Oh, that's great.
Go ahead.
Have you tried to get your belt on AEW since he's the champ?
Well, one time they did. He defended him against, who was it? He did it once on Dark, and it might have been against Jack. And he did it once on Dynamite. I forgot against who it was because he actually texted me. He goes, "Oh, I'm going to put it on TV." And I always tell him, "Well, you should do that more." But for some reason, they haven't really had too much. You know, because at the beginning they wanted Laredo, but Laredo went on a reality show, and I actually think they got hot, and they wanted Hijo de Vikingo, and wanted Taurus. They've never called me about it. I know one time they brought Fabi Apache in for one match, and she was in the ring like 5 fucking seconds, and I told them, I go, "Bro, Fabi can go. She's a pain in the ass, but she can go." You know, anybody you put in there, anybody, she can run circles. No disrespect around Sheeta, you know, and who's her best worker?
I think
Thunder Rosa.
Somebody from another promotion.
That's right. Thunder Rosa is an NWA. That girl has improved a lot because I remember when I saw on Lucha Underground, they were complaining about her for getting her lines and all these moves. And then I used her Nero Lucha. And I remember watching her and going, she's still kind of green. But this is like 3 years ago. Yeah. And wow, when I saw her now on fucking, no, I had actually seen her on NWO Pro because I liked that show. And I saw her there and she was fucking awesome, bro. She's awesome.
No, she stepped it up. I'm good friends with Mel, and she's only been wrestling really for about 5 years. Started maybe training 6 years ago at max, and been wrestling really for 5.
And she looks like a star. And here's another thing about her. Very few girls have a cool factor, and she has it. You know, there's a coolness to her. And but Fabi, with all due respect, will run circles around her.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Fabi's got that generalship in there that takes a long time to get, and she's got it for all the right reasons.
She was in the ring like 10 seconds or I don't know, a minute. I was like, you flew her down there for that?
Yeah. I mean, it was funny to me because, you know, I've known Thunder Rosa for a long time, and it was like, I can't believe that she came in out of NWA and really kind of exposed all of AEW. Her storyline was better because she's this first Mexican female NWA champion. She's the one coming in from the outside. It was like her storyline mattered more than everything else they were doing, and all these other wrestlers that have been around 10, 15 years. Like that just exposed the business the wrong way to me to a certain extent. Like I wanted to see her get that shine, but at the same time, like, Jesus, guys, what are you doing that this outside story makes more sense than what you're building at home?
And bro, and to add on to that, because we had Nick Aldis on the other day, but I didn't ask him this. Who was writing NWA? Corrigan and Lagana?
Lagana was before he...
Very good story. Very good storytelling, brother.
That show.
Very good storytelling. That show is very good because I've never really been a big Melina fan, but I was actually interested in her storyline. You know, like they did a good job, everybody, bro. They had great talkers, you know, Eli Drake and fucking James Storm and Eddie Kingston and the fucking Zeke Deaky or whatever the fuck his name was, and Ricky Starks and and the question mark guy, Karatai and all that shit. I was like, wow, everybody here can talk, and it looks like the wrestling I grew up on, like that Superstation shit with all the flags, you know, the studio audience, and I like
it's fun and no mark out crowd either. It was like an old school kind of crowd. Like the whole thing about NWA Power was very, very fun, you know, and I have a lot of friends that were watching it and that were going to tapings that they feel about NWA Power the way that we felt about Lucha Underground. Like they're taking a different level of ownership and like staking their claim as fans. This is our shit. We want it to go this way. And, you know, that was one of the things that was cool about Lucha. And I wish you had been there longer, because as fans, I feel like we did start to get a little more of a say, and we became a character in the show the same way when I was going to ECW back when I was 17 years old in Philly. That audience was a character in that promotion. You know, 1000%. When all those chairs come into the fucking ring. That's the extra character talking.
And part of the beauty of Lucha Underground was that crazy rabid fan base, you know, that gave the wrestlers that energy, and they were like, wow, man, you know, they really like what we're doing, because a lot of them weren't doing shit. That's why they were all signed to those fucking ridiculous 7-year deals. I was like, who the fuck signed 7-year deals, you know? But back then, nobody knew Evelise, nobody really knew Sexy Star, nobody, you know what I'm saying? They really didn't know any of these people. So, and they weren't really doing anything, and they fucking signed their, you know, it wasn't even 7 years, it was 7 seasons. That shit could have taken 50 years, you know?
Well, you know, and sometimes they could turn them around fast, but the way the TV business worked with El Rey and Univision getting involved, and boy, I could tell you weird stories about the behind the scenes on that shit, where it went in seasons 3 and 4, especially. It got, you know, being a TV producer myself, that shit was sideways, bro. It was bad business for a lot of people.
Don't blue ball the audience. What are you talking about?
No, I mean, like, look, the parent company really wanted them to do certain things with those contracts and the cost cutting and taking the show to different places. And I know that some of those things have been suggested from season 1, but, you know, it's bad business in the middle of a season to put a show on hiatus when it's on a roll. And that really killed the business. It's bad business not to announce renewals of a show and then bring it back at the last minute and expect anybody to give a fuck. That's not the way the TV business works. If you look at Netflix, man, the second they know something is hot, you look in that box and it will say, man, season 2 is coming, before they've even started going into production. Like the second they know that they're going to be able to make some money off of it.
Because you would think somebody like Van Wagner, who worked on Survivor and Celebrity Apprentice, would have that type of shit down.
He did. He honestly did. And it was a lot of the other factors that came into it that really didn't. And it was not even just El Rey, because, you know, Skip was in charge of a lot of the stuff at El Rey, and he wanted to push forward or, you know, cut it clean right then and there. But, you know, part of the problem was they were trying to employ people with these contracts that didn't make sense, that were like TV contracts. They're TV actor contracts for wrestlers, but they're precluding them from doing other stuff. If you're a TV actor and your show's on hiatus, guess what? You get to go and film a movie. You get to film another TV show. And they couldn't. And it was like, either they're going to be on a TV contract and they can go perform elsewhere, or you got to treat it like a wrestling contract and keep them as a real promotion, and then give them fucking work. Give them fucking merchandise.
Wasn't it illegal in LA? Wasn't a lot of the stuff that was in the contracts actually illegal in LA law where it was signed? Not really, but I mean, the whole thing is, look, you sign a contract. The only way to find out if it's illegal is to spend a bunch of cheddar to go and fight that contract.
Right.
Like these wrestlers that are barely making shit on these contracts and can't even go out and work other TV.
And that was the worst part. They knew that, and they exploited that.
You know, and it wasn't until season 4 when 3, 4, 5 people started getting together to try to get out of their contracts that anybody found out what the actual legalities there were with Phantasma and even Thunder Rosa and all those guys. And there was no animosity there. They just wanted to fucking work.
Right.
You know, but I mean, you get this stuff.
And Vogelman told me that for a while he wasn't even talking with the people from MGM. So there was some sort of rift between MGM and, you know.
There was a lot of chefs in that kitchen. I think it's part of what made Lucha Underground great, and part of what made it fall apart at the end Like, you needed all those chefs. You needed the combination of this Rodriguez style of making television shows, like Dusk Till Dawn and his shit. And you needed Burnett and his ability to get the ground floor going. You needed guys like you and Chavo that knew the business and knew the history and could bring some of the WWE style in, and you could bring the Lucha Libre stuff in. You needed Dorian Roldan in there who wanted to impress people, who wanted to bring his IP to some place where it could make a difference and break into the US market. You really, and you needed Fogelman, who's a fucking prick, to come in there and just be a hard ass and make people get the damn job done. He was wrong about how to do a lot of it, but just like Vince sometimes, or any of those guys, you need a guy in there. And maybe that's what AEW is lacking. Tony Khan's a nice guy. He's not a prick, and maybe he should be.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
But I want to say this to you. First of all, thank you for coming out and doing this. This is amazing. We've been wanting to talk to you for a while. We want to talk to everybody about Lucha Underground because it's something that was special to us, and the different portions of the show carry different weight to us. You were a very big part of getting it going. You were a very big part of that locker room. All the performers, all the workers that we talked to, and everybody knows the lasting impact that you've had on that show and Lucha Libre in America, period. Like, Lucha Libre in America isn't even a thing without you, bro. It just isn't. And it's that simple, and we appreciate you for doing this. And I want to know what your thoughts are on the legacy of what Lucha Underground is going to leave wrestling, kind of like what ECW was. Is Lucha Underground going to leave a lasting legacy in the wrestling business here in America?
Well, I think it's it will, because it'll be looked back as the first promotion that Lucha Libre wasn't an appetizer or the dessert. It was the main course and everything else. It was a party, the after party and the after party. Everything was Lucha. You know what I'm saying? It's a shame to me that, it was mismanaged, because look at all the talent that came out of there, bro. I mean, it's fucking ridiculous. And so another thing that came out of there, which, we've seen it influence a little bit the other promotions, is that cinema approach to it, right? It was good that we had people because almost everybody that's in the wrestling industry in positions of power have always been people that worked in another company. So they've always kind of been inside of the wrestling bubble. So you needed to work with somebody that wasn't in the wrestling bubble to think outside the box, and so they really thought outside of the box with the way they, that it was filmed. There ain't, I guarantee you they don't have anybody like Skip in any fucking other promotion. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that's, lasting. And also that Lucha Libre is something that wasn't just for Mexicans. Everybody could enjoy it, and I've always made this, this comparison, and it's worth mentioning again. To me, Lucha Libre has a lot of parallels with hip hop, right? So hip hop starts in New York, mostly a Black and Latino thing. Fast forward 2020, we've got white rappers, British rappers, we have gangster rap, we have happy rap, we have nerd rap, we have all these genres of fucking rap, and rap actually is now pop. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's how big it is. All right. So you look at Lucha Libre, and when it first started, it was all Mexicans. And the only people that did it were Mexican and watch it were Mexicans. And now you look at it in 2020, it's a global phenomena, where you have promotions in Japan and, in England and all over the place that just do Lucha, and you don't have to explain to people anymore what Lucha Libre is. Like I remember back when I was with Antonio Pena and we were trying to talk to American investors, about Lucha Libre. And they were like, oh, is that thing with Hulk Hogan? No, it's not with Hulk Hogan. We had to show it to them. What the hell's going on? But now you say Lucha and everybody knows what the fuck it is. That's incredible, because I went to Canada. Listen to this. So I went to Canada in like 1989 or 1990. Okay. Nobody knew how to do Lucha Libre there. And nobody knew who I was or anything like that. And then like in 2017 or something like that, Teddy Hart threw a big show in Calgary, like Brian Cage was on, the Young Bucks on. It was this guy that Sami Zayn, what was his name? Generico?
Yeah. Generico back then, yeah.
Yeah, he was in it. It was a whole bunch of people. It was a really big show. And so they were like, yeah, here's a guy that, started here in Calgary and he's behind Lucha. And when I came out, everybody was chanting Lucha, Lucha, like they knew me as the Lucha guy. And I was like, wow, I've been promoting it for so long and advertising it and advocating it and recommending people. And wow, people finally see what I saw, and you guys have seen what I saw, so, it's just really cool to be able to share that with you guys. And you guys are such passionate fans. And yeah, I think the legacy is, a lot of great stars were cultivated there. The cinema approach to doing, wrestling, and that for once it got the respect that it deserved, being the main event, the appetizer, dessert, everything. It wasn't just a fucking, you know what I'm saying? The olive in the martini anymore.
I hope that Glenn listens to this interview and he gets a newfound appreciation for this shit. Son of a bitch.
He will. And the worst, here's the worst part. If you look at his record against luchadors, it's like 19-0 or something like that.
I mean, I think Glenn is a little bitter because he couldn't get his invisible wrestler gimmick on TV.
Yes,
and now Lucha Underground had like dragons and a guy who could travel through time.
Yes, that could be part of it. But let me ask you guys one question before I get out of here. Yeah. Well, two questions. Meef, question 1 and 2. Do you think there's any chance that any iteration ever of Lucha Underground comes back? And give me your 3 favorite characters on Lucha Underground.
There's a way it can come back on the rights and everything like that, and certain things coming to pass. Favorite characters, obviously Cuerno, because I loved the way he changed his entire body and the way he moved in the ring, and the psychology of that character is fantastic. And I personally would put him more in a Predator, kind of taking people with masks or hair throughout the series. Phoenix was obviously wonderful, and when he transitioned into the Dark Phoenix character, was even better.
Mm-hmm. Zombie Phoenix.
Yeah.
That was the best.
And third, I really enjoyed Marty the Moth.
Marty the Moth. Now, do you watch AAA?
Yeah.
Okay, give me your 3 favorite male, female, minis, exoticos, anything, characters on AAA.
Well, I love Nino Hamburguesa because he's like me.
Tremendous. Yes, he's tremendous. Yes.
Vikingo, because Vikingo's just like taking fucking cocaine and coffee at the same time.
Yeah, he's fucking ridiculous.
I'm going to second that. Vikingo's
absolutely
top of my list.
I've really enjoyed seeing Aramis.
Oh, he's very good too. Yeah, you'll see more of him. Mm-hmm. Brian, same question. Do you see Lucha Underground ever coming back? And favorite characters, Lucha Underground and AAA?
I think, if all the business deals come through, I think the show and its format can come back, but the details, the players in it are going to have to be different. My favorite people on the show has to be number 1, Pentagon. He was just the coolest motherfucker from day one. I remember Casey, who's also on our show. We were like in the bleachers screaming our heads off, like Cerro Miedo and all that stuff when he was doing a I Quit match against Sexy Star, and everyone else was cheering for her, and we're booing her as hard as we can. He was just the best. Mil Moritez as well. And after that, it's kind of a toss up. But I loved the Rabbit Tribe. I thought they were
the Rabbit Tribe. That might have been when I left.
Oh yeah. So it had London, it had Mariachi Loco, Cholo, in different get-ups. It had
rabbits.
Yeah, they were like Alice in Wonderland kind of characters, like trippy, always kind of drugged out shit. And basically, they had brought Paul London in almost to be an agent when you left that void, I think. So London was in there, and then
he's a good guy. London's a good guy. He's a very good guy, and he's talented. He did this gimmick once, right before he came back to Lucha Underground. I went to an indie show here in San Diego, and I love to just go to shows and just feel the energy and see what's coming up. What's new coming up. He did this gimmick where he came out dressed up like a spaceman, okay? And he literally shook every person's hand in the audience before he got into the ring. They're like, 100 people there. It was so fucking ridiculous that it was funny. You know, it was fucking hilarious.
I think he called into our show one time, like 10 minutes before he had his match at Hood Slam.
Yeah, probably. He's a very eccentric guy, but I love that guy. Well, how about you, Jason? Oh,
Justin.
let me ask you, Byron.
Justin. Yes, sir.
Justin, my bad. No, I am high. Byron, who would your favorite in AAA? Do you watch AAA or no?
I watch it off and on, so I'm not the best with names, but I have to second Vikingo. He's one of those guys where you when you see the glimpses of what he's doing, like you're getting like 10%. You know there's so much more, and it's like every time there's a company in America like AEW is hiring, they have an agreement with AAA. He's going to show up on TV, and he doesn't, but hopefully he does soon. And there's other guys, but I mean, I'm not the best with names.
All right. How about you, Jason? My bad.
Justin.
It's
good. He's been called him.
I'm gonna go in reverse order.
Yeah.
The AAA guys, I'm loving Vikingo like everyone. I'm a big fan of Taurus also, and Drago has been one of my favorites for ages. That was one of the things, like when I first heard about Lucha Underground happening, I wanted Drago to be there.
What a cool character, right?
Yeah, and I just thought that, like, oh my God, if you can bring Drago into a Robert Rodriguez kind of world, what the fuck is that going to be like? That was one of the reasons why I showed up on
was also very cool of him. Do you remember he did it in season 1 because he was doing it in Mexico, and I said, bro, you got to bring it to the United States. When he was coming on those big fucking wings, how cool did that look?
Yeah. The first one the first taping I actually got to go to was the return of Drago in season 1. And just blew my mind, man. That was when I was 100% all in. I had been watching, but I got to go to that taping, and then I started coming to tapings all the time whenever I wasn't on the road, But for AAA wrestlers and Phoenix, too. I still consider him a AAA wrestler. I don't know what he's going to do, but I consider him one of the best that you can get down there. For Lucha Underground, that's a little tougher for me. I think Phoenix overall for the entire arc of all 4 seasons probably now is my overall favorite, followed very closely by Pentagon probably. I loved seeing the progression of Thunder Rosa or Cobra Moon, whatever her character was, and of course Cross, who had a very short run on actual camera, but his dark matches even were just fire. And I love some of that stuff too. And believe it or not, I really liked a lot of Tejano's stuff in Lucha Underground too. There was some stuff that he started doing later where he just started coming with this just crazy, stiff, crisp ring work, and he was running the ropes hard, and he was doing shit that he wasn't even doing in Mexico. And I was just like, where the fuck did this Tejano come from? Yeah. Some of that stuff in like the middle portion of his run in Lucha Underground, I absolutely loved.
All right.
And
good.
I will say this. I think that Lucha Underground can come back. There is a way, but what it takes at this point is certain chefs have to get out of that kitchen. Certain contracts have to lapse, especially the one with El Rey. I don't think you'll ever see it on El Rey Network again. I just think that business proposition isn't going to work for the Dorian and the LLC and the people who hold the IP, nor is it going to work for MGM. I think the only way it comes back is if Dorian sits down at the table with the MGM guys after the El Rey, option on the TV contract is up, and they come to an agreement that they all would like to continue using that IP, and then MGM finds a good outlet for that, whether it's on their own network like Epix, or they find another good home for it or something, then you could see Lucha Underground come back. Only if that happens will you ever see it under that particular IP. You'll see these characters, I think some of these other things, or somebody might buy out portions of it at some point in time. But if you want the real Lucha Underground in some form or fashion, I think that's the only way it happens.
All right. And let me ask you one other question. What would you give from an A to an F grade to the writing of the show?
Of Lucha Underground?
Yep.
I can't give it an A because I would say ECW in 96 and 97 is my A+. for me.
Right.
I would give it overall, barring some of the ugliness of season 4, I would give it a B plus A minus, somewhere in there.
Okay. You, Byron?
Yeah, I would. I mean, season 4. Season 4. I think was like, and maybe some of it wasn't their fault, but I think season 4 itself was probably C minus, but the rest of it B plus A minus.
No. What was season? Is that when you had the whitening?
Yes, it's when when because of circumstances they couldn't bring in foreign talent. So you lost, you lost people, and then you couldn't bring in people that they were expecting to bring in. And so,
I mean, they shot the whole thing in a month's period of time. So guys like AR Fox, he got injured the first, before they started, so they couldn't use him on TV the whole time. They couldn't get visas quickly enough because Trump changed the laws on how you could get them. Everybody could get work visas, but not fast enough. And it's only, shooting 4 weekends in a row for the whole season.
Yeah.
So, it just caused so many issues. Chris Roach was also not with DJ helping him right at the beginning because it was in the middle of Big Brother Celebrity Edition or some shit. So his main writing partner wasn't there to help him flesh out the storylines for who couldn't show up. So Chris DeJoseph was doing it all by himself.
Right.
And the high points of seasons 2 and 3 were, those two guys coming together with their zany ideas and figuring out how to make it work with the Lucha Libre and Chavo getting his shit in. And that was probably the height of what they were doing writing wise. They didn't do that in season 4. They couldn't. It just didn't come together in season 4.
Now, let me ask you, Beef, what grade would you give the writing?
C minus.
C minus?
Because I came to the show for the Aztec and the Mexican lucha culture.
Right.
And that got dumped halfway through season 2, really. And then season 3 was completely ignored.
I'm laughing because I know it got replaced with hot shit like AR Fox in that Hell of War match.
But
you're not hitting with that, but I'm down with that shit.
I wanted the Aztec thing playing out. I wanted the gods coming in because, I'm obsessed with Quetzalcoatl and McScuttle and all those kind of guys.
You got the gods. It was Wade Barrett all along, man. It was Wade Barrett.
Yeah, it was an English dude.
But
multi-suicide and an ill-fitting suit.
Is that who it was?
He was the limo driver guy.
You had Aussie Suicide, you had Wade Barrett, you had Jack Swagger, all these guys. Cross was one of them.
Now, let me ask you a question. At that time, were fans complaining about that or no?
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Especially the Mexican
setting on fire.
Man, I was at those tapings, and even while it was happening, man, the real Latino and Mexican fans they would grab me and be like, what the fuck is going on? Why is this happening? This is some bullshit. When Drago was getting squashed by Jack Swagger and shit like that,
it would stop, or they leave it.
They had Jack Swagger beat 2 Mexican guys in a one match.
So let me ask you a question. When people were telling him shit on social media, what would they say back?
Well, but that was part of the problem. There was no instant response because Lucha Underground was taped. That shit didn't air until 3 months later. Right. Yeah, there was no break. There wasn't a long enough period of time for that fourth season either. So we even had Chris Roach on the show, and we explained it to him what happened, and it was like news to him. Yeah, it was shocking him. He was like, and Chris Roach is the most liberal guy you will ever meet in your life. Yeah. And he was like, oh my God, what do you mean I did something racist? There was we're like, it's not even necessarily racist, but you guys don't understand. You squashed the culture of Lucha Libre in that last season.
Right.
And he was shocked.
Which is part of the lore.
Yeah. And for as much as Lucha Underground reinvigorated that passion in a lot of the fans of Lucha Libre, especially in Los Angeles, the ones who could go to the tapings, you saw that. It's like telling a kid that Santa Claus isn't real. It's like it got squashed in them. And they're
what I almost feel like it was? I know you want to say something, Meef, but let me throw this in. I almost feel like it was Mexicans were finally something that we're being represented in an honorable way, and they're taking our history into account, and they're doing it in a beautiful way using Mexicans and raza right here in LA and Boyle Heights. And then they were like, oh fuck, it's being Americanized or pasteurized or sanitized or whatever word you want to use. But what were you gonna say, Meef?
I was literally all it was missing was a fucking conquistador.
Right.
By the end, I was like. Because like I said, I was in for the Aztec and Mexican culture, and how that's something I love
Very
and I'm passionate about.
culture. Yeah.
And here's the thing. Like with all wrestling, I believe, and I genuinely believe this from these writers and from Van Wagen and these other guys who are running the show, they would have turned it around because wrestling is an industry built on that feedback. They're not stupid guys. Right. They weren't trying to disregard it on purpose. Right. But once you tell them, they're going to go and fix it. They want the show to be hot. They want the crowd to pop. They want those Latino fans. They want that street credibility. I think they would have totally fixed it. But the business model was too broken to have a chance because they're not doing live TV. They're not touring. They're not out doing house shows. There's no live feedback. Right. No merch.
And so, and you're right, because that's one thing they were good at. They were good at like fixing shit when they realized it was bad. Like, I'll give you an example. Were any of you there the first day of taping season 1?
No. Like,
bro, it was hot as a motherfucker. It was hotter than hell, and they didn't let kids come in. Right. And I was like, bro, you got to let kids in. That's like our biggest fans, you know, and they fixed that immediately. And they started bringing kids in. I don't know if they brought fans in there or air conditioners or what. What did they have something in there at the end?
They got 8 air conditioners installed.
Oh, holy shit. That first week was murder. Bro, imagine that place. Imagine this. Imagine that place in the summer with no air conditioning.
I mean, we were there a few times when it was pretty damn bad, but they did do some stuff to try to fix it eventually.
Yeah. And they always have a really good catering. So I'll put them over for that. And they did give you a per diem. I'll put them over for that. You know, I had a good time, bro. I try to remember very nice hotel. You know, I try to remember the good stuff, but you know, I always like to throw in everything, the good and the bad, you know, so everybody gets a complete picture. Because
we appreciate that too, and we know a lot of that locker room personally. And honest to God, they don't have a lot of bad stuff to say about you, man. They really still love and appreciate for what you brought, and a lot of them wish you had stayed around, you know, to protect them or to give it to them straight or to help build the show. You know, a lot of those guys missed your presence when it was gone.
And that's cool to hear, man. But I was having a meltdown just watching. You know, I just was like, wow, really, dude? Like, I'm telling you. And so I just
watching the car crash coming.
Well, the bad thing is that I myself became very difficult to work with, and I became very disrespectful. And I think they were like, fuck this guy. You know, we're paying him and he's telling us to get fucked. Now you get fucked. You know, and that's basically what happened, you know.
Well, we appreciate you coming on and shooting straight with us about it. This is what Expo Lucha is all about for everyone who is watching today, that there's a lot more great stuff to come right here on expolucha.com. Thank you guys all for joining us. Appreciate having you here, Konnan. Be sure to listen to our show every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Mass Mats and Mayhem. Go ahead.
Real quick, let me put over AAA's coming back. You know, we're going to be taping pretty soon, so you can check that out. But more importantly than that, check out my podcast, Keeping It 100. It's on Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, you know, YouTube, all the platforms. We chop it up with some politics, sports, current events, wrestling. We do wrestling watch-alongs, reviews. You know, a friend of the show, and maybe, I don't know if you could call him your boss, but Kevin Kleinrock, he's got the Mass Republic Minute where we talk about Lucha Libre every week.
We call him our overlord.
Yes, but you guys were burying him for something once. What did he do?
Oh, man, look.
We bury him every week.
We bury him and JoJo Feeney all the time. JoJo was supposed to give us some love on your show, cut it out, put it only on the Patreon, which is cool, but at the same time, like, fuck JoJo for doing that. But then JoJo was supposed to make it up for us. He was trying to help us out with a sponsor and this other stuff, and him and Kleinrock making these big promises. Still haven't seen this shit. Still haven't seen it.
Well, they're a product of the business, you know. Never always tell them yes, but never when, right? The checks in the mail, you know, all that. But just know this: whenever referring to Joe in person or on social media, please, Meatloaf and Byron and Jason or Justin, I'm not sure anymore, please use the most vile and vehement language when speaking.
I mean, that's how I speak usually, so we'll be good with that.
We're right in the same lane, Meef.
All right, Meef. So this is how we're going to close it out. You have to give Konnan some of your expletives in that lovely British accent of yours, because this is your trademark now. Let's hear it,
Cunt
Meef.
is the classic. Cunt is the classic. Twat. Prick.
Right.
Bastard. Right. Well, you're going to say bastard like Sean Bean.
Right. When I hear this a lot, because my wife's Australian, do you use this word, wanker?
Yes, wanker.
Okay. I hear that a lot. Yeah.
What is a bell end? I don't know what that is.
It is the end of your penis, but also a person who's an idiot.
I have a question about slang. What does peel my potatoes mean?
Well, basically what it was is, you know what toss my salad means, right?
I've been told.
All right.
Byron's familiar, I'm sure.
Right. Yeah, maybe a willing or unwilling participant. But anyways, so I used to go in WCW, and I used to always say,
there's
French, there's creamy, there's ranch, there's Italian. Pick one of them, because tonight you're gonna bow down and toss my salad and peel my potatoes. Now, peel my potatoes sounds kind of disgusting, but it's just something I made up because it kind of sounds like something perverted or something sexual. And I remember one time Eric Bischoff came up to me and he was like, yeah, standards and practices says that you cannot say toss my salad or peel my potatoes. I go, wait a minute. I go, the first one, I'll give it to you. But the second one I just made up. He goes, well, you made it up so good that you can't say it. So,
nice. You got it over.
Yeah.
Oh man, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. One day when I'm in LA, you guys are in LA. Well, you're in England, right?
I was gonna say bring AAA to England. I'll be very happy.
No, bro, never know. You're where, Byron?
I'm Los Angeles based.
Just say Los Angeles. He moves around. I move around. We make towns when we can to make our TV shows, doing reality shit. But look, if you need producers, whenever you get another American Lucha Libre thing going,
what do you do? Like, what do you do?
Oh, we're reality producers. I'm a supervising producer. Done a bunch of shows. Got a Netflix show coming up soon that I can't talk about yet.
Yeah. All right.
I've done a lot of fun stuff.
I just done
and I worked on NFL. I worked at the NFL last year too. My fantasy season, however, is going down the fucking tubes already.
Why? Who's your running back?
Oh my God. I did not have Christian McCaffrey, who went out, but I had what did I have? Mac. That was a nightmare for me.
Right.
And now I'm running Fournette instead and Kenyon Drake. Kenyon's been great, but Fournette's been, spotty at best.
You know who Disco's is? You know who Disco's running back is?
Emmitt Smith.
Kamara.
Oh, yeah. Kamara lit it up this week, too.
He went nuts, yes. Byron, were you going to say something?
Oh, no. I was just going to bring up how on the shows that I do, I had the Headbangers on as a cameo when I was doing the Vanilla Ice project.
How was that, the Vanilla Ice project?
It was a lot of fun. It was insane. It was like Jackass meets HDTV. So, like, for instance, let's say you're gonna, let's say you're going to on the second floor of a building. Which, by the way, we always built the stairs last. So I'm like slinging a camera with a strap over my shoulder, climbing scaffolding to go up and film with them. And then they're like, okay, so we poured a wall, we put a foam insert where the window's going to go, and we need to knock it out. So what we're going to do is we're going to pour diesel fuel all over it, on fire, and then hit it with sledgehammers. And that's how we built the house.
But what does Vanilla Ice do?
That's a good question.
That's what he did. He does all that stuff. He comes up with all the ideas.
How is he to work with?
He's great. He's very passionate and
because I saw him on a show once, and it might have been one of those like reality shows, like
yes.
What was that show where Six Pac almost got into a fight with the Brat?
Yeah, he did one of those sort of like Big Brother.
It was the VH1 celebrity rehab thingy, whatever. What was it called?
Something like that, right? I saw him on one of those type of shows, and it was really funny because he was in this like like a bar, right? Yeah. And bro, everybody knows him from My Size Baby, and everybody's like, "Yeah, sing it." And he was like, "No, I don't like to sing that. I don't want to sing it anymore." And everybody's like, "Come on, sing!" And then finally, at the end, he sang it. But you could tell that he couldn't really understand the effect that it had on all these people. And when he saw them singing with him, because it's almost like wrestlers when they tell me, "Oh, I want a podcast and I want to talk about wrestling." Hey, motherfucker, people don't want to hear your tape. If I meet Dale Earnhardt, I want to talk car racing. I want to talk about some other shit.
No, he's great. He's super great with his fans, and he's totally on board with all of that too. And he totally gets what it means to the fans and people of all generations. Also,
we took him to Lucha Underground once. He had a blast.
I brought him out to Lucha Underground. He loves wrestling.
What's Pentagon,
bro, if you've never seen Lucha, how could you not love it, right?
Yeah.
Right. You know what Van Wagenen told me? He told me that Trump, because he did the Celebrity Apprentice, was like a big germaphobe.
Mm-hmm. Very much.
Yeah.
I've heard Van Wagenen say that too, that Trump was really weird about touching people's hands. And it's like, oh, too bad your job is to shake hands and kiss babies now. Sorry about your damn luck.
I don't know if I'd touch his hand.
I'm going to watch that debate tomorrow. But anyways, I want to thank you guys for having me on, bro. And if you want to have me on in the future, I'm down. And like I said, and I will repeat this again, only violent vehement language when referring to Kevin Kleinrock or Jojo Feeney.
Done deal.
All
you
right.
got it. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you especially to Konnan. You got at Byron Fever over there, at Meatloaf up there, at Lucha Gringo is not with us this evening, but he will be back next week. So until next time, stay calm and stay in the mix.